Hi. So I saw on YouTube recently about Kevin Federline, his interview on 60 Minutes. I don't know if it will copyright me because, all the videos and movies and on YouTube or anywhere else could get copyrighted. But I just wanted to give my viewpoints, and maybe I will even do a reading on what's going on with Kevin and why he's thinking the way he did, and my conspiracies of what really happened with Brittany and her family. So we'll start from the beginning of the interview. I put it on quicker mode because I think that there's no need to listen to it in regular mode.
As supremely talented as she is, Britney Spears is also terribly tormented. Success has cursed the pop princess as much as it's rewarded her. In 2008, the pressure of fame became too much. Britney unraveled so spectacularly, she was placed under the control of what's called a conservatorship. It meant she wasn't allowed to make any decisions for herself. Last November, 13 years on, the strict legal order was overturned, but now as she tries to reclaim her life, she faces more scrutiny. Tonight, in a controversial interview, Britney's ex-husband, Kevin Federline, the father of her two sons, has agreed to talk after years of silence. A picture of domesticity in what seems like a very normal, middle-class home in Los Angeles. The dishes are being done, the dog's being fed, and the kids are playing outside. Like many other families, this brood is a blend of relationships. Except that...
So apparently, he got remarried to somebody else. A very plain woman, it seems. And... he has 3 more kids, and Brittany's kids live with him.
There's something that sets them apart.
Nobody can prepare you for anything like what I've been through, nobody. But to me, I had a job to do, and that was my kids.
For Kevin Federline...
My question is, why is he suddenly coming out right now and starting to speak, his side of the story? As far as I'm concerned, and as far as most people are concerned, Kevin got the better end of the deal. He got full custody of the kids, and he got Brittany paying him child support, a lot of money each month, like $20,000, So, I don't know why he's standing up and complaining.
There's no greater joy than being a dad to his 6 children, but it hasn't always been straightforward.
6 kids, okay.
You see, he shares the upbringing of 2 of his kids, sons Sean Preston and Jaden, with their mother, his ex-wife, Britney Spears. To make their lives as normal as possible, 15 years ago, he decided to dim the spotlight.
What happened to you? You disappeared.
Yeah, I think it was probably the best decision that I made.
This is the impression of him trying to appear humble, or he giving off the vibe of a humble person.
And one of the best decisions I've made in my life.
But now, Kevin, or K-Fed as he used to be known, wants to talk to the world. And a few weeks
That's his wife.
ago, he invited celebrity interviewer Daphne Barak into his home. He said it was time to explain how he and the boys have fared through the ups and downs of Britney's turbulent life.
Keeping my boys safe and making sure that they have a relationship with their mother and the rest of the family, that's what my role has specifically been in, for me, for myself. Like,
if I were in his shoes, that would not be my role. My role would be to just make sure that they have a relationship with their mother, and the in-laws, it's up to the kids.
I can wake up every day and live with myself knowing that is what I've been trying to do for the last 15 years.
These days, Sean Preston is 16, Jaden is 15, and Kevin Federline's life is a long way from the circus it was when he first met and fell in love with Britney.
I needed some companionship, and for some reason, I couldn't get this guy out of my head that I'd met.
Back in 2004, she was already one of the most famous women on the planet. The guy she couldn't get out of her head was a little-known backup dancer. It was impossible to tell who was the more smitten.
I've never really liked anybody. I'm very picky and very weird. It's really cute. And he's cute, and he's older, and he's nice, and he's a really, really good kisser.
We were inseparable from that time. From the time we met, it was different. Everything was just, it was amazing. It really was. It was this relationship was really, we listened to each other, we talked to each other, we tell jokes to each other. We did all the things that, you do in a new relationship, but it was magnified by 100. So it was really different until it wasn't.
want to introduce you guys to my friend Kevin. He wants to leave. He just got here.
There were complications, though. Kevin was a love rat who already had a fiancé, a son, Caleb, and another child on the way.
Alright, so this guy's a womanizer. So that already gives us an idea about Kevin's lifestyle, how he, like his repeated, everybody has a pattern, you know? So his pattern is with women. He got one lady knocked up, and now he has a fiancé on the way. Okay, let's see what happens.
But Brittany flew him over to London to join her European tour, and, well, that was that.
Hi! Kevin, we have to ask you a question.
Oh God, here we go.
How do you feel about marriage and commitment?
I feel that.
But not everyone was in love with this love match. Many saw Kevin as little more than a party boy gold digger.
That's probably the truth of what it was.
All of the discrimination towards me when me and Brittany got together and all this stuff, you know, there were so many things out there. I was never good enough, and oh, you're this, you're the poor white trash loser, blah, blah, blah.
He does give me the impression of being white trash loser. I think he still is a white trash loser. I guess those, the people that made those assumptions on the news and the media, they're probably pretty spot on with their assumption of this guy.
But I mean, I was built to be able to take that because it didn't bother me at all.
The paparazzi didn't leave either of them alone for a minute. It meant their wedding had to be a top secret surprise, even for the guests.
They all thought they were going there for our engagement party.
It was really, really sweet and very nice.
Newly hitched, the couple wasted no time starting their family. Sean Preston arrived a year later, and Jaden a year after that. But by then, the fairy tale was showing signs of fracturing. Even so, Kevin says he was completely shocked when in 2006, Brittany filed for divorce.
Alrighty, so if you're one of those people that want to dig into the conspiracy theory of what really happened with Brittany and Kevin, why suddenly out of the blue she just served him some divorce papers, in my opinion, it was her family. Okay, this is not proven, but I feel like this could have been her family, her parents trying to get control over her, you know? To begin with, maybe they forced her to give him a divorce, to ask for a divorce, you know? It could be that she wasn't in control, even back then.
I just found out I was getting divorced. I called my lawyer, he met me in Chicago, and we sat down, and the only thing that I told him that all I care about is getting 50% custody of my sons. You know, I can't. Nothing else mattered to me.
Well, 50% for him because he didn't have a job back then. Or he was a backup dancer, but basically this guy's been out of a job for like 15 years since he's been with Brittany, so.
Nothing.
That's what it seems.
You can't. I'm not the person that will take money over family.
Really? He did. That's exactly what he did. He took Brittany's money and her kids.
What followed was an at times tough battle between Brittany and Kevin for the boys. It coincided with the difficulty Brittany was having coping with the pressure of pop stardom. Sadly, her breakdown played out in front of the world.
Okay, so she had one moment of impulsivity. You know, that doesn't make her incapable of taking care of her kids or living her life on her own. Just because she was angry at the paparazzi, like with all that pressure that she was under, with them following her around, and she was angry at them. I guess it was like an act of rebellion when she shaved her head in front of the world. You know, so that probably gave her parents incentive and probable cause to, like, put her under a conservatorship. You know, like, either it was an evil plan from the beginning to put her under a conservatorship, and that was just the beginning by making her divorce Kevin. Or that was just she had a moment of weakness and impulsivity, and then everything just spiraled out of control.
Was mortified for her. I really was, for a long time. Way past the time that people were watching. It's been years. I still feel bad for her. You know, I mean, it's hard. It's
had barricaded herself inside the room at one point.
She was rushed to the hospital overnight.
Wheeled out right here to Cedar Sinai Hospital as distress.
Okay, so Brittany says in her own, she gave a recording. I'll play the recording after, where she talks about how just one day she was in her parents' house, and they told her, "Oh, come out to the front door," and for no reason, suddenly she got grabbed by all these people. The parents called the ambulance, and they said, oh, she's having a nervous breakdown, and they all held her down in the ambulance. And everybody was taking a picture, and it was a big media storm. So, like, Britney believes this was part of her parents' plan to get her into conservatorship and start to control her life and take her money.
2008, Britney's father, Jamie Spears, stepped in to take drastic action, placing her under a conservatorship. The strict legal order meant he controlled everything: her money, who she talked to, and even what she ate.
Yeah, so her father was known to firstly hurt Britney's kids, abuse his grandkids, and he as well was known to have abused them when they were young, and he was a crazy alcoholic, and this manipulative abuser is given full power over his daughter, Britney. To control her every move, her food intake, her sex life, to the point where they even took away her period from coming by putting an IUD in her so that they can milk her from all her money so she doesn't have that girl excuse, to be like, oh, I'm not feeling well, I have my period, I can't perform,
Rather than pick one side, Kevin says he supported both his ex-wife and her family. It's a diplomacy he's maintained with his sons.
I mean, it's very nice that he's trying to play the saints and everything. I guess it wasn't the easiest. It probably wasn't the easiest situation to be in at that time, But as Britney says, and Britney's sister even admitted, that they think that Britney's mother actually had an affair with her ex-husband, Britney's ex-husband, Kevin. So the fact that he's suddenly coming out and starting to talk, when he started to talk about Britney Spears, when Britney hasn't even spoken much about him herself. All she wanted was her kids, and she never really said anything bad about her ex-husband. The fact that he's coming forward and just talking out of the blue once she's finally free is suspicious.
How did you explain to your kids what is a conservatorship? Why is mom not being able to make her own decisions?
They've had a lot of questions about it. I don't know that I can answer all of them for them, but I just try to explain to them that your mom needed help, and the people were in play to try to make that happen.
Another theory is that maybe Britney's parents did the conservatorship with pure intentions at first. I don't believe that, but that's another theory that you can look at. But they quickly saw her just as a money-making machine, and they took advantage of the situation, and they completely used and abused her, and trafficked her in a sense.
To make it better.
For Sean Preston and Jaden, their very famous mum's very infamous conservatorship added to the confusion of being brought up as the children of divorced parents. Even today, Jaden believes his grandfather, Jamie Spears, only had good intentions for his daughter.
At first, everyone's...
What do you know when you're 15? You know what you're being fed. You know what you're being spoon-fed by the people around you. You're like a sponge. You're still a child. Teenage brains, you know what the people around you are telling you. What your father's telling you. Their mother in this case wasn't around them. What their grandparents are telling them. What their stepmother's telling them, So, they have this opinion because of what they hear around them.
Motivating him for the conservatorship, right? But I think at first he was just trying to be like any father, like pursue her daughter's dream of like being a superstar and working and going on all these concerts and performing. But I think some people are just like ceasing to realize how much he cares about her.
Kevin Federline, who saw Britney at her troubled worst, agrees his ex-father-in-law was
very caring.
Doing his best at a very tough time.
Just because they're not my immediate family, they're my kids' immediate family. That's their grandfather and their grandmother and their uncle. And
Firstly, they could have paid him off from Britney's, whatever they got from Britney's money. The parents could have paid him off to give this interview. Plus, the conservatorship is over, apparently. I don't believe it's completely finished, but also, soon his kids are going to be 18, and then she doesn't need to pay child support anymore to him. So that's what a lot of people are saying. Like, he's coming forward and talking because he's trying to... It's some sort of plan to get her money.
I feel that it's very important that they have relationships with all of them, regardless of what happens. I wasn't involved in any of it, so I really don't know how the conservatorship came about. I don't know whose decision it was. I don't know. All I know is that you have a family that is worried about their daughter and trying to do whatever they can to help her. That's all that I knew. The boys, my kids, my family, and that was it. I had to worry about them. I couldn't get involved in all of the other stuff because it's just, I don't feel like it would be fair to Brittany. I don't feel like it would have been fair to my sons. I have no part in any of that.
So you feel Jamie might have saved his daughter?
100%, I feel like he saved her back then.
But as you'll
I believe Brittany would have been much better off. First of all, maybe she wasn't as crazy as they made her to be. Second of all, even if her career failed, and she landed herself in a mental institution, the way what she talks about her experience with her family, her life in a mental institution, or just as an ordinary person would have been way better than what she's been through with her family.
see, that's certainly not what Brittany thinks.
Honestly, still to this day, don't know what really I did. But the punishment of my father, I wasn't able to see anyone or like anything. And you have to imagine none of it made sense to me.
For 13 years, Britney Spears was not allowed to make any decisions for herself. But with the support of her fans, who organised a global campaign known as the Free Britney Movement, she fought to overturn the conservatorship that had controlled her life. Last November, she won.
It's official, the conservatorship of Britney Spears has been terminated.
Despite her victory, though, it's clear the pop star hasn't forgiven her family. Last week, Britney released an audio recording that did not hold back.
My heart would just want to stand up in my family's faces and scream and cry and throw a tantrum. And
you know what her situation reminds me of? It reminds me of someone who's in a powerless situation, somebody who's physically being held down and abused. And I feel like maybe they didn't physically, at one point she said they did when they put her in the ambulance and they made her to look crazy, but throughout this 13 years of her conservatorship, like, she was being held down and being controlled every movement of her life, and imagine being powerless, somebody holding you down and doing what they want to you, and the anger you would feel afterwards. You know what I mean? The anger, the resentment, that you just want to do what she's saying, like rip their faces off.
Go back in time and do exactly what I wanted to do at those times. Yeah, and might even spit in their fucking faces.
Yeah, exactly.
Why? Because the pain my family gave me, sitting me there all day and not being able to use my feet, as they watch their grandchildren run bases to base in a family neighborhood, as if I'm dead or I don't exist, honestly makes me look up and say, how the fuck did they get away with it?
Britney's former...
And Kevin, her ex, it's hard to judge him because you can't know how her family manipulated him into keeping Britney away from the kids as well. But I don't believe he's the innocent bystander and the saintly saint that he makes himself out to be.
Former husband, Kevin Federline, says he understands Britney's anger, but he also wants her to know sons Sean Preston and Jaden were thrilled when their mother's conservatorship was overturned.
Both of them were happy for her, because...
They can't know to be happy for their mother. At that age, what do you know? You know what I mean? You can know good from bad, but you don't know the complexity of everything. With a conservatorship, what was the purpose of that to begin with? You know what I mean? Okay, they knew that it's what she wanted. All right.
Because it's not always about what's right. It's about, this is what mom wanted, mom got.
So Kevin, is saying it's not about what's right, it's about what she wanted. So in his heart of hearts, Kevin actually believes that the conservatorship is a good thing.
40 years old and free at last, Britney had a lot of life to catch up on. Top of her to-do list was marrying longtime boyfriend Sam Asghari. 3 months ago, they celebrated at a celebrity-studded event. But the wedding revealed just how broken this family really is. None of Britney's closest relatives were there, not even her 2 sons. The youngest, 15-year-old Jaden, says the reason is simple.
I'm really happy for them, but she didn't invite her whole family, and then if it was just going to be me and Preston, I just don't see how that situation.
Okay, so he's saying that he would be uncomfortable to go to the wedding because the other family members weren't invited, right? So you can see there the influence that his grandparents have on him, and all his uncles and aunts and his father and his mother, they have this strong influence on this young boy, on both young boys. Their opinion matters, so they're being brainwashed against their mother. And it's called as another name for it, especially when one parent or even the step-parents when they poison the mind of children against their parents. And we see here this is exactly what's happening.
Would have like ended on, you know, good terms.
Like if they were invited and his grandparents weren't invited, you know, and his grandparents can see the kids and they have a say and they influence the children. It's a manipulation for the kids. It makes it more complicated for them. Like, how are they going to face their grandparents when they weren't invited, and they have to take on that responsibility of feeling bad for their grandparents and while spitting in their mother's face at the same time? You know, because Brittany doesn't have all that support from her family, or it's easier for them to spit in their mother's face than to spit in their grandparents' face.
The end of the conservatorship and Brittany's efforts to reclaim her life have inevitably led to questions about her taking more control of her relationship with her sons. She used to share the boys 50-50 with Kevin, but a few years ago, their co-parenting hit trouble. Kevin says it was because Sean Preston and Jaden weren't always happy living at their mum's home. In 2019, a court awarded Kevin 70% custody, and the boys moved in with him full-time.
Yeah, so the boys have decided that, you know, they're not seeing her right now.
Kids know what they want usually, but a lot of the time it's from influence from the parents. You know, from parental alienation or poisoning of the mind from family members, or it could be true that partly about what was going on in Brittany's house was a bit toxic for the kids and they didn't like it. However, as Brittany mentioned, Kevin is a bum who sits on his ass the whole day and smokes marijuana. So his family life is no better than Brittany's.
It's been a few months since they've actually even seen her.
Not only did Brittany not like the boys' decision, she hated Kevin telling the world. Their bickering led to an undignified social media tit-for-tat between the two that saw Kevin post an embarrassing old video of Brittany fighting with the boys in her home. That's something he still defends doing.
I saw that video of Brittany fighting with her kids, and all I can say about the video is that the impression I got of Brittany was her being a normal, extremely normal mother who is putting her kids in their places. Kids who are disrespecting her, kids who are brainwashed against her, and the fact that they were even videoing her to begin with, it just goes to show that somebody told them to do that. And that somebody was either Kevin, the stepmother, or the grandparents.
Even though he quickly took it down.
I've spent the better part of my adult life turning the other cheek in response to attacks on me.
Okay, he's hurt. Okay, people in the media were bad-mouthing him. Poor Kevin.
When our children are attacked, I found the need to set the record straight to be overwhelming.
That's something he still defends doing. Despite all the recent noise,
Brittany just came out to be looking like a good mother who doesn't take crap from her kids and is trying to get the respect and putting her kids in their place when they're just being brats and disrespecting her because of how Kevin and is brainwashing them against her.
Jaden and Sean Preston live pretty normal teen lives.
Once they get older, these two kids of Brittany, I'm pretty sure that they will go back to their mother and apologize for whatever this interview was about, and they will regret disrespecting her, and they will turn on Kevin and the stepmother, and there's going to become a story out about everything that really happened, you know? Because these are kids. Once you get older, your perspective changes, you know what I mean, through life experience.
And to no one's surprise, they've both inherited a talent for music from their famous mum.
I want to figure out something that I can do in my future so I can pursue something just like she did. And she was super inspirational for me as when I was younger.
Well, both of them are really, really sweet kids. I mean, they're good human beings, which is always a pleasure to have.
But by stepping back into the spotlight, Kevin has infuriated Britney's army of devoted fans, who include a number of high-profile celebrities.
Only cowards use the media against a famous person who they once loved, they procreated with.
They question why he's chosen to speak with celebrity interviewer Daphne Barak and what he hopes to gain. Given his claims, there's nothing more important than his family's pride.
There are many YouTubers out there. There's one YouTuber in particular. I don't want to give him more clout, more fame, or more followers. But his view on Britney is very warped and one-sided. I followed him for a while and I thought, oh, maybe he's right. Maybe she is a bit crazy. Maybe, maybe Kevin is a saint. Maybe this and that. But then you look at the other side of things and you realize that it's all manipulation, and the guy is, that YouTuber is, his view is, his opinion, he's allowed his opinion, but his view and his ideas are warped and twisted. And not taking into account Britney's experience, and it's usually like that. Like somebody like Britney who got bullied all her life, it's easy to bully her because she's still in a weak place. She's not in her fullest strength at this time. It's easy to bully her, or even when she tries to raise her head, like now she's trying to raise her head, they just try to stomp her down again, to prevent her from gaining her real power.
Privacy.
I want my sons to have the closest thing to a normal life that they can possibly have, because it'll make them better people.
Can they have normal life?
I think it's possible. They see me, so they know that if they really want to get away, they know how to get away.
The truth is, when your mother is one of the most famous faces in the world, a normal life is probably too much to expect. But there's no doubt both of Sean Preston and Jaden's parents only want the very best for their boys.
They just want money. They want to milk her for every penny she got.
Now,
and I bet his wife right now, his current wife, Kevin's current wife, is actually jealous of Kevin even thinking about Britney Spears, or Britney Spears having ever been in his life at one point. And for those reasons, it could be that she's poisoned those children as well against their own mother.
If instead of me, Britney was sitting here, what would you tell her?
I don't know. It's really, like one of the toughest questions. I try to think about that question because there's so many mixed emotion in there.
Part of him is probably still hurt from how she dumped him, and as well as having attraction for her. He might have loved her at one point, but I don't believe he loves her anymore. But I feel like he probably has emotions towards her, and because love is dedication, love is dedication. It's care. I don't believe he has any care for her, but I do believe that gives his current wife reason to hate Britney all the more and poison those children against their own mother. It's the best revenge to hurt somebody, to get their own kids against them.
The father in me, the ex-husband, it's hard to tie it all together because I would want to apologize and then give advice and then ask if there's any way I can help.
Ask in a way.
Hello, I'm Tom Steinford. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes.
Ask her in any way. Is there any way he can help take her money, take her for all her money more? Whatever. From everything, in conclusion, from everything I've seen of Britney Spears, of her talking, like the one guy, the YouTuber that is against her, he pretends he cares for her, but he has very twisted views on her. He also puts double standards on her. He says, oh, why would the kids want to hang out with their mother who's posting naked pictures? But it's double standard because most celebrities, they either have acted in films which are erotic, and or they've posed nude in magazines, for magazines, or currently posting nudes, and they have kids, and their kids are not alienated from them. So he paints her to be this crazy person, but every time I hear her speak, I just see somebody who is more sane than the fat guy on YouTube. Excuse me for fat shaming, or generally I'm very tolerant of, I never like to use people's looks against them, but when I don't like a person, I feel like that's extra leverage against them, literally. So not only is he ugly, but his opinions are are not, like, she comes across more sane than him. She comes across as more intelligent and sane as most of her haters, and more intelligent than him, and just being a normal mother. You know, she would make an amazing mother, I believe. And so now the question is, should we do a quick reading on what I think about Britney Spears' Kevin? What does he want from her? Does Kevin actually, does Kevin actually care for Britney, or he just wants her money? Does Kevin actually care for Britney, or he just wants her money? Does he care for Britney, or he just wants her money? Shit. Okay. Bank civil trial power through money. He wants her money. Fair Man Like Blue Eyes describes him. He likes revenge. He wants revenge on her for some reason. And he's angry. He's angry. He wants power through money. So he still wants her money, it seems. That's what the cards seem to say. No joke. New life, new family, new home. He wants money and a new home. He wants to buy money for a new home. He wants victory. Maybe he wants to have more kids with his current wife. Let's look at this tarot. Does he care for Britney? Does Kevin care for Britney? Spirit guys, please connect with Kevin. Does Kevin care for Britney? Does Kevin care for Britney, or he just wants her money? What's going on in Kevin's brain? Does he care for Britney, or he just wants her money? Gotta mix the cards, you know? Seven of Wands reversed. Two of Wands upright. Domination. King of Pentacles. He's greedy. It's reversed. So Seven of Wands, it's all about money, basically. I don't believe he has any real feelings of care for her at all, actually. Seven of Wands. He feels like destroyed confidence. He feels powerless. I guess because she's rearing her little head and she's starting to talk. He's fighting for the wrong thing. He feels powerless, and he doesn't want to back down because of all the bad things that's been said about him, I guess. Two of Wands upright talks about someone who wants to be in control of a situation, gaining control, dominating another person. He's exploring his options, his decision. What decision is he going to make? He's trying to keep her under control, Britney. He's trying to possess her, take her money, workaholic, materialistic, overindulgent. He's materialistic. It's all about the money. Question is he attracted to her, or does he have any feelings towards her? The other cards also spoke about revenge and money. You know, so he's still upset about the breakup, it seems. Page of Swords reversed. Does he still have feelings for her? Was that the question? Page of Swords reversed. That talks actually about somebody who is hiding something, or somebody who's not comfortable with their identity, and somebody who likes to play mind games and is manipulative and malicious. Then we have Six of Swords reversed. Talks about emotional baggage. He has unresolved issues with Britney. and he's afraid of the change that's coming. I'm guessing with the kids moving on when they turn 18. He's stuck in the past, and he feels alone. Even though he's married to somebody else, he feels alone, and it's hard for him to transition even into his new life with his wife. So my next question is, did Britney actually want to, did she actually want to divorce him, or was her parents forcing her? Did her parents force her to divorce him? Loving everything as a spirit, guys. Please connect with Britney and Kevin. Did Britney, was it because of her parents, the divorce? Or was it because she wanted a divorce? You said it came out of the blue, so the question is, did she want a divorce, or did Britney want a divorce? Or was it her parents? Addiction, drug use, Eight of Pentacles, reverse, things not working. Let's ask, was it her parents? Or did Britney not want it? Some sort of illusion, daydreaming, fantasy. Was it her parents who made her give a divorce, or was it Britney? I'm using the cardamom C as well. Loyalty, long-term relationship, good memories, old friendships, love affairs, cruel mother. Who's her mother? Female rival, dark lady, manipulator. Who's her mother? It was her mother who wanted to have that relationship. Like Britney Spears said, like, she wanted the money, her mother wanted her money, and Britney suspected that her mother was sleeping with Kevin. So we have Seven of Cups upright, which talk about also addiction and alcohol, drug use, bad choices, corruption, delusion, confusion, difficult choice. So I guess she had a difficult choice to make, Daydreaming, chasing there, looking through dark glasses, options, direction, temptations. I'm not sure what to make of this. Losing control, regaining or losing control. She was losing control, Britney, at that time of her whole life. I'm guessing due to corruption within the family, because we have Eight of Pentacles reversed. She was becoming unmotivated, and she wasn't making progress. It could be a mixture of things why she divorced Kevin. No progress, no skills, unfulfilled. She was getting bored of the job, and maybe she was supporting her family, and her family was getting afraid that, or Britney herself felt like Kevin is holding her back from progressing. Strength. So I'll pull a few cards to clarify. Compulsive behavior, butting heads, raw emotions, low energy, self-doubt, insecurity, weakness, vulnerability, no self-esteem. She had bad self-esteem, and she was butting heads, I'm guessing, with Kevin. I'm guessing it wasn't out of the blue, like, were they fighting? Were her and Kevin fighting? Her mother's seductress. It talks about a mother who is seductive and a rival and jealous, and a cruel mother who's manipulative. I feel like her mother, not even her father, her mother had a huge influence on the divorce. Was Britney fighting with Kevin? Was it her choice, or what? Seven of Wands. She was in defense mode. Everybody was attacking her. Seven of Wands talks about being defensive. So the question is, whose idea was it? She had to stand up for her beliefs, and she was becoming like a scapegoat. And her job was more demanding, and comic artists, players, defenders, faith, words, activists. So whose idea was it? Was it her mother, or was it Britney's idea to divorce her husband? Whose idea was it to divorce Kevin? 0. It was an impulsive decision. It was taking a chance and going on a journey, taking a chance. Page of Swords again, I get. Talks about somebody who might be bisexual or gay, somebody who's not comfortable with their identity, and someone who's manipulative. So who's this person? Ace of Swords reversed. Wait a second, I might have gotten Page of Swords wrong. No, it's right, actually. And then I have Ace of Confusion, Brutality, Chaos, Misunderstanding, Lies, Communication. I feel like Kevin is lying. Not Kevin. He might have gotten the divorce papers out of the blue, but I don't feel like it was Britney's decision. I feel like it might have been a combination of her father and her mother. Knight of Pentacles reversed. Could have Kevin asked for it? Working for without results, the second guessing, slow progress, perfectionism, looking for perfection. King of Cups. I feel like Kevin is not such a saint in this relationship, because Knight of Pentacles talks about somebody who is becoming lazy, and he's probably holding her back from fulfilling her potential. King of Cups reversed. Talks about somebody who has lost their love, coldness, bad advice, emotional stress, blocked emotion. I feel like Britney was doing it under she gave the divorce because she was being given bad advice from somebody. I'm guessing it was her mother. Emotional stress, blocked emotion, intense negativity in her life at that time. 4 of Swords. 4s. Burnt out, stress, mentality, overload, stagnant thinking, stuck in their way of thinking. So who made her give the divorce? Was it Britney on her own? Did Kevin say something to her, like, oh, I don't want you anymore? Or did her parents force her to? Was she under duress? Page of Wands. 3 of Pentacles. Page of Wands upright. New energy. Ideas. I feel like it was because of the kids as well. Something to do with the kids. Motivation messages. Maybe friends were giving her advice as well. 3 of Pentacles reversed. No teamwork. Harsh criticism, sloppy work, no support or cooperative problems. I feel like she was having problems in the relationship. It was a great mixture of things. But a big play in the divorce was probably from her parents and friends telling her to get rid of him. That's what I take from this. Yeah, so that's from what I get from what went on with Britney, right? Alright, take care. Until next time.